We're talking about some processing basics in the processing programming drawing environment. And in this tutorial, I'm going to talk a little bit about the built-in functions and built-in variables in processing. So let's start with some of the variables. There's a number of them that are sort of automatically built in, and they're handy. They give you information about your sketch or about various objects in your sketch. One of them is the one called width and height. Okay, and it turns pink, so it lets you know that's a reserved sort of variable. That's always going to be a value. So width is the width of your canvas. So in this case, 800 and then 600. So if I wanted, for example, to make a ball the width of my canvas, I can put in, here, I can put in width, and then I can put in height. So now it'll draw an ellipse that says, oh, it's centered that way. So let's do ellipse mode, center, and then it'll center it just like the rectangle. Oops. What happened? Oh no, it's still 100, 100. I'm sorry. Okay. Oh well, so you can do ellipse mode is center. Sorry, that is the default. You can do, for example, if you want to put the center of the ellipse in the center of the thing, you can do width divided by 2 and height divided by 2. And then it'll be the center of the canvas. There you go. Now, if you change the size, say 200 by 200, it'll just resituate itself, so it's there. Okay. All right, so that's a reserved variable. That's always going to be the width and height, the size of the canvas. There's a number of other ones. I think a lot of them escape me right now. But one thing we're going to talk about is mouse X, and that turns pink as well. And it'll give you the current mouse value. So if I wanted to move the ellipse with me, or let's make the rectangle move with me, we're going to do mouse X, and then Y2. Mouse Y is the same. Okay. Now the rect will move along with my mouse. Okay, because it's returning every frame the value of the X location and the Y location of my mouse. All right, as long as it's over the thing. All right, so there's an example. These pink words are reserved variables, and they represent information. Oh, there's a number of them. Like, one thing I didn't talk about actually is printing. So it's not too different from Super Collider. You can print line, and then put everything in those brackets, or you can just print and put in those brackets, but print won't hard return. So I can print line, I can print whatever I want. In this case, I'm going to print one of these variables, which is frame count. Frame count, and that basically tells you from the moment you started the sketch how many frames have passed. Okay, so obviously you're going to get a big long list of numbers here because it's doing once per frame, 260. Now it just keeps a count. And that's handy for a lot of things. You can do timers and such with that. We can do frame rate, and it'll print whatever the median average frame rate for any given frame. So this is running almost 60 frames a second there. I have a lot of things going on, so this might be slightly slow. Okay, things like that. Okay, so these pink words are reserved variables that are going to return a little bit of information, useful information usually, and you can always use them. All right. Now let's talk about these built-in functions as well. There's a load of them as well. A lot of them have to do with controllers, and that's what I'm going to emphasize particularly now. And when I say function, it's this sort of thing that has either a void or something else, has some name. So, for example, there's a number of mouse functions. Mouse pressed, and then it has these parentheses, and then it has a scope, found mouse press. So basically what this is saying, this function is saying that every time I press my mouse, it'll run everything that's in here. So if I want to, every time I press my mouse, print something, hello. Every time I press, well, I still have that thing going. We have to get rid of this. It's going to print hello. You see right there, hello, hello. Every time I press my mouse, it's doing that, and various things. Okay, and there's a load of these. You can have mouse released, mouse dragged, for when you drag it. There's also keyboard one. So there's ones called void key pressed, and that's a keyboard one, and that's accessing the keyboard. You can use an if statement, and I'll talk more extensively about if statements at another time. But you can narrow key equals A, and then print okay. So key pressed, pressing A, saying goodbye. So just the idea being that you have these reserved functions. They already do stuff. So this is going to run every time the mouse is pressed. This is going to run every time any key is pressed. And there's loads of these that you can do. And this is just to introduce you to this format. We'll be using a number of these in our mouse theremin interface project. And you can, I just want to introduce you that these are already functional. They're functions that have already been pre-programmed, and that you can use them. And this is the syntax in which to use them. Okay, well, let's end that there. And the next one will be getting ready to start our project.